I do about 4 a week. There may be some extra ones if I'm doing some challenges or something like that, but lots of ideas. Please do have a look. So today we're going to make a butterfly themed card. So this is the first time I've ever used these dies. I've had them for ages. I had them when they first came into the catalogue, and it must have been, it wasn't last year, it must have been the year before. Really stunning layering dies, and they're very similar to the blossoms in bloom where they layer together, but I've never actually used these ones, and this is called Butterfly Beauty. So they're available separately in the catalogue. If you flip to the back where all the dies are, link will be in the description bar below to those, but they also coordinate with the Beauty Abounds stamp set. So once upon a time they were available as a bundle, but they're no longer at a bundle price. But you can see I've just pulled in a sentiment from the stamp set to coordinate in with those. But the feature today is the dies, and if I just show you those, this goes back to the days where I used to just put all my dies onto magnetic sheets instead of keeping them in the original packaging. So this is a massive die set. I mean, there is loads in it. There's all these little frondy bits. You've got all of these little teeny tiny butterflies, so if you wanted to do a card with lots of those on, you can actually use all those dies and actually die cut 10 at once. They're the same shape. We've also got these two that coordinate with the butterflies in the stamp set, plus some other little fluttery ones, slightly different designs. I think there's 2 of each. Yeah, so there's a couple each in different designs, but then this one is like, look at it, it's huge. And then this is the partner one. Okay, and the thin one lays over the top of the fat one as well. So what we're going to do for the sample, I'm going to demonstrate. We're going to use the two together in a different colourway rather than separately on there. So if you look at this one, so this one we've just used the skinny outline, whereas on the black one we used the more chunky thing, but we're going to bring them together. Okay, so that's the direction of travel for the card sample. That's Melon Mambo and Black, by the way, in case you are wondering. Melon Mambo is one of my most favourite colours. That is Nude Blay. Right, we're clearing the deck slightly, because we need to do some die cutting. Okay, so the butterfly image I'm going to actually do in black and white. So I want the white inner and a black outer, so that's the way they go. And because they're so big and detailed, I am going to roll them through separately. I probably could fit both on my plate at the same time, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do that. We're going to die cut them both so you can actually see the process. Throughout, a lot of the time we'll skip through some of these things and do here's one I did earlier kind of thing, but today I want to go through all the steps for you in case you're new to stamping, die cutting, etc. So we have a Stampin cut and emboss machine, which is super lovely. Really love using it, and it comes with all the plates you need, and also the directions are printed on top of the plate. So this #1 platform will be in use all the time, whether you're cutting or embossing. If you are die cutting with using the thin dies, you always need a plate #2, and then to finish the sandwich you have a bottom cutting plate and a top cutting plate, and that's where your cardstock and die will go, with that on top. Okay, there are different sandwiches depending on whether you want to use regular embossing folders or 3D embossing folders, but this is the sandwich we're going to concentrate on today, so it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2 and 3. So the cardstock goes on top like so. Finish our sandwich with the top plate, and then this feeds into the mouth of our machine. It's a manual machine, so there's like a winding handle, a bit like an old. Does anyone remember the days where we used to have to wind the windows down in a car? It's not dissimilar to that. Rolling it through on those rollers, and then bringing it back. So it's actually, in theory, it's gone through twice. So if I take out the whole platform, the whole thing, like so, if we lift off this top plate, ooh, stuck slightly, and here we are, and like so, some of the pieces have already fallen out, and you can see where the metal die started to peek out through that cardstock. So all these little bits need to go in the bin or recycling bucket or whatever you've got to hand, and that washi tape will just peel away. We'll need that for the other one. So, and then if we take away all the excess cardstock from around the edge, oh, watch those little antennae. We can use a pokey tool. So I'll just get out my take your pick tool, and we can actually press out all of these pieces of cardstock. Some of them will just fall out. Oh, gone flying over there. So I would normally do this over a bin, and actually if you flick away the cardstock as well, you can. So it'll want to hang on a little bit, but it's cut through. It's just held together by the fibres of the paper. And if we continue to, so if I just use these release holes just to start pressing that out, it comes away from the die like so. Just be careful with it, because some of the detail is very fine. We've got all the little bits might be stuck in your die, so you'll need to get those out before you use it again. We won't do that right now because we don't need it again, so I shall leave it to one side to do in a moment. Now, one tool that is available in the catalogue is the die brush. Now that will is an adapter to this particular tool that I'm using at the moment. You just swap out one end of the tool for the other, for the brush, and you lay this over. You would lay your die cut over the sponge that comes in the kit, and then if you rub the brush over it, it loosens these little pieces. So that is another option if sitting here poking things out is not your thing. I don't mind. It's one of those things. It kind of looks like it's really super fiddly, and actually once you just get cracking on it, it doesn't take too long, and most of them have come out anyway. It's not like it's everything. So that's those ones. Ooh, that one just wants to hold on for dear life. Look, yeah. So that's that one, all picked and poked. Move those to one side, and we're going to cut our other one in white. Just make sure that's fitting on the cardstock. That's why I wanted to make sure it was taped in place, because if it slips in the machine, it's not going to cut all the portions. Exactly the same sandwich as I just showed you, just going in there. So you will sometimes hear creaking and cracking on those acrylic plates, but that is completely normal. It's just they are doing their job. They are taking the pressure from the actual die cutting process. That's what they're there for. Okay, so again we peel off our excess from around the edge. washy. And if we just start pressing that out at the edges there, it should peel away quite nicely. This one's not as delicate as the other one. Again, there's some bits and pieces to pop out, but really nice and simple to do with this one because they're so big. So you would just carry on and do that. I'll do mine later. We just need to press out these ones right now so we can use our die cut. So just takes just a couple of moments. So like I say, this isn't necessarily a process I mind too much, but I tell you one die that you definitely want to be using your brush on is the lace die. Oh my goodness, yeah, I used that for the first time the other day. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of bits in this one, very detailed. So yeah. So like my desk and bin were covered in like little teeny tiny dots of cardstock from poking that one out. But I have to say that the vast majority of the dies that are carried these days don't really have a lot of these fiddly bits, and we changed the manufacturer, so these were being produced by somebody else, so these are the old manufacturer. I do find that the new style ones really release from the cardstock much more easily. So it could be that if you buy this die now with the new manufacturer, maybe they will come out a little easier. As I say, normally I'd get it out, but I just thought it would be useful for someone if you've never seen it before, just to see that kind of process and not be bewildered by it. The sticky stuff, I'm going to get my glue eraser, just rub that off. There we are. So that's our white piece ready to go. Just going to tidy away these bits. So like I say, normally I'd have sat with my bin on my lap and just poked them straight into the bin, but on camera, so there we are. Right, there we go. Where did my other one go? There it is. So now we've got to get these guys stuck together. If I just sort of dry build that there, you can see how lovely they look layered together, aren't they lovely? Beautiful. So how are we going to stick that to that, you say? I have a trick for that. So that's the reverse of that image. She said she has a trick for that. Where did it go? There it is. Got it. Got it. Silicone craft sheet. Fantastic piece of kit. And are you ready for this? It's high tech. A clothes peg with a stamping sponge, a quarter of a stamping sponge on the back. And we're going to put some glue on here. So this silicone mat, the glue, well it does dry on there, but it just comes off really easy. You can either peel it off with your fingers, which is quite therapeutic, or wash it up under the sink and it just goes away really easy. So as you probably saw there, blobs of glue on the mat, because that will come away no problem, and then using my handy dandy high tech tool to apply the glue onto the back. You don't want lots of it, you see, so you only want a little bit, and that will be plenty, I'm sure. Lift that up gently, get this out of the way. Like I say, that will dry on there, but will be will peel off no problem. The sponge itself, I just let it dry and just keep reusing it, so I'll just leave it out the way, just put it up there out the way. And yeah, so now we just want to ever so gently position this over the white image, and we'll just guide that on, because the glue's only it's only a thin layer of glue that's going to want to set quite quickly, so you want to try and make sure it's in position as quickly as you can. It will just move slightly whilst you just give you a bit of wriggle room, but like I say, it will dry quite quickly, so you want to move reasonably fast on it. There we go. Super duper. Okay, so does that show on the, let me just get a piece of, there's some black cardstock so you can see the white bit coming through. And so just press that down really nicely, and that's ready to stick onto our card base. So I've decided to go with, I just picked out mint macaron because I thought it would look nice with the contrast and the black and white. So that bit's not quite lined up, but you get the picture. With a bit more time, you can get that lined up perfectly. So doesn't that ping? Don't know what that reminds me of, but it reminds me of something. Doesn't it look cool? So the back of this has got far bigger spaces just to apply some glue. So I'm just going to do some little dabs here and there on these wider portions, and that will be enough to keep the whole thing in place. Don't need to smear it entirely. Bring back our card, and so you just want to be careful that you want to get this lined up so it's not going to be hanging off the sides anywhere. So just holding that carefully and get in that position somewhere there, I think is where it's got to go. That's it, lovely. So under normal circumstances I get my big stamp block out and I get that covered up with that large stamp block, and that just holds that in place for me. We'll just leave that for a couple of secs, just to help out slightly. And what I want to show you there is that the greeting that I selected from the stamp set, I have stamped that with Versamark ink onto some black cardstock and embossed that with white embossing powder, and just trimmed it down at an angle, just made this funky little banner, just something little just to go on there, because I didn't want to detract too much from the main event, which is those lovely dies. And then I've got some little strips of dimensional that are spare, so I'm going to use some of that to apply that to the back of there. And we're going to position that somewhere, maybe about there. Where did I put it on the other one? Yeah, I put it about there. It's like there's so much going on, and where did you put it, and everything, so not sure that's totally straight. You get the idea. And then just a final bit of bling. So this helps draw the eye into where that sentiment is. So there's a medium one and two teeny tiny ones. Just making rule of threes and that. things look nice in clusters of 3. So that's that, and the card is finished. Okay, there are some little specks of where the glue, when you're stomping on your silicone craft sheet, if it moves slightly, you do sometimes get some on the front, but a glue eraser will get rid of that, no problem. And in fact, you can actually just rub it with your finger once it's completely dry. But glue eraser is fantastic for just getting those little naughty specks of something off your card. And there you have it. Okay, so we started with these two, using the dies independently, okay, of each other, but the layout's the same with the greeting and everything, and we've leapt that into this one where we've actually used the dies together and layered them up with this more sort of subtle colour palette, shall we say. Okay, so links to the dies will be in the bottom as a quick link straight into the Stampin' Up shop, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care everybody, bye.